Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Astro Psych 400, talking all about astrology, human behavior, personality traits. Let's get started. My name is Ned, and I'm from West Virginia. And outside, it seems like we have a thunderstorm that is just about to start. The weatherman said it was supposed to start last night, but I guess he was incorrect. So, the sign of Taurus is one of the big reasons why I wanted to make this video series here on this channel. And my explorations, if you want to call it that, with astrology really go back to the sign of Taurus. And this is mostly beginning in the year 2008, because I had a friend in college who was actually perhaps my closest friend during the whole 4 years of college, and her star sign was Taurus, and her birthday was May 16th. And I began to pay attention to that because maybe not the best friend that I had in college, but the second closest friend that I had for a while had a birthday of May 6th, also in Taurus. Taurus is mostly viewed as April 19th to May 20th, but some things in astrology can be give or take a day. So I noticed that their birthdays were May 6th, May 16th. My birthday is May 26th, so you have that. Some people would think that that's kind of an interesting coincidence. Other people would think that that's just not anything important at all. I don't want to read too much into that because if you tuned in yesterday to the video on Gemini's, my star sign, you'll hear that I'm not really into the whole psychic powers angle with astrology. Instead, what I look for more is how do the changes in the seasons affect the way you think in relation to the date of your birth? Like if you're born in the spring, how does that alter your thinking? Because you know when your birthday is. You know that you were born in the spring, and it affects your personality, mood, temperament, sexuality, all of these things. But that was the first time I really began to pay attention to these personality traits associated with astrology because of that 6-16-26 pattern that I had among two of my closest friends. I didn't remain close with the person who had the birthday of May 6th for very long. You ever notice how like someone can come into your life for like a year and then get out, or maybe they're in your life for 2 years and you think you're building up some type of bond and then it's just all over? Well, it was something like that, but nothing against her or anything. It's just that's the way life happens. So, in 2017, I met somebody. And remember how I said that I had my closest friend from college whose birthday was May 16th. So I met somebody in 2017, and we're spending some time together. And on the first time that we met, the personality just seemed the same, almost like the personality had been transplanted into a different body. And I was like, I just wanted to ask what her birthday was. And the reason why is because she reminded me so much of that person who had been born on May 16th. They're from different countries, they have a different first language, they have different occupations. So I'm just thinking May 16th in my mind. And I asked her, "What's your birthday?" And she said, May 16th. And that's when I had that moment like, wait a second, holy crap, am I actually getting psychic waves? No, I don't think it's that. But is it possible at all that we have these types of behaviors that do get affected because of the changes in the seasons, because of the months, because of the spring equinox and the summer solstice, because we're aware of them, we record them. If you know that your birthday is in the spring, does that affect the way you think and affect your personality in any particular way? So that's something that really stood out to me. But it didn't end there. Because, say, for example, have you ever met somebody that's kind of like your funny friend, but maybe not as funny? Have you ever met somebody that is like kind of like your loud friend, but not as loud? So I ended up meeting a coworker later that summer. This is all in the year 2017. And her personality reminded me of both my friend from college, as well as that person I was just talking about, but not quite. Everything was just a little less extreme. And the number that came to mind was May 14th. I mean, the date, number, all of that, May 14th. And I was like, I didn't want to just ask her flat out, is your birthday May 14th? Because, I mean, that would be just a weird thing to ask, right? So I said, what's your birthday? And she said, May 14th. And that's when things really just started, like, going off in my mind. Like, is there actually something to this? I mean, both times, of course. I didn't just ask the question flat out, is your birthday May 16th? Is your birthday May 14th? I thought that's too intrusive. But I had this visualization in my mind, and both times it turned out to be correct. Observing the behaviors in that way. So that's why I wanted to talk to you guys about it now, because I do think that there are certain personality traits that can be connected to the star signs. And it's not anything about the alignment of the stars on the day you were born that is projecting this energy towards you. No, it's just about this is what it's like living on planet Earth, and I'm looking forward to my birthday. It's in the springtime. I'm dreading my birthday. It's in the springtime. And maybe some things about how there are being born in a warmer month or a colder month, and that's going to be all different in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. But I digress from that. In 2017, though, there was one more incident, and it didn't involve anyone who had a sign under Taurus. Instead, it was just a similar experience. I met somebody on the first day. She reminded me of a Gemini that I had known, someone whom I know whose birthday was her birthday was June 9th. That's how I was able to program it. And you're just like having a conversation. So we're talking and just sharing some stories. Oh, nice to meet you. Where you're from? The little bit of this, little bit of that. What kind of work do you do? Only ever met that person one time. We only had one extended conversation. And the date that I began to visualize was June 17th. Based on that same model, she displayed behaviors that were similar to another friend that I had had in the past, but more intense, or it's closer to a more extreme version of that friend. So I began to visualize the number June 17th. And I was like, the last times I've had these feelings, I've been correct. So I asked this person, when's your birthday? And she said, June 17th. And at that point, I'm just like, am I actually onto something? And no, it just happened 3 times. Those are the only 3 times where I've ever actually had that type of accuracy when I met somebody and just having a short conversation with them, or maybe a little bit more than short. I mean, so we're talking about talking for like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then I could get their birth date down to the day. Not like, were you born in the summer? Were you born in the spring? Down to the day. Using that same method, it's like, based on all of the people that you've known from the sign of Taurus or the sign of Gemini, they exhibit these types of behaviors. And then you try and match it based on the levels of how extreme these personality traits are. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, and well, just to say where all of this is coming from. And I'll share with you now the observations that I have made about the star sign Taurus, which is one of the big reasons why I wanted to do this channel in the first place, to talk about astrology, star signs, and everything related. So, to help us out, we're going to go over to a website that is called costarastrology.com, and they have some basics about Taurus. Taurus is the bull, April 19th to May 20th. The element is the earth, modality is fixed, and the ruling planet is Venus. The traits of Taurus: they just want to cuddle. They are homebodies. They are all or nothing, no in between. They wear the same outfit every day, and they hate big changes. What do we have to say about that? A Taurus just wants to cuddle, at first. They are a homebody. No, they're not. And think about anybody that you've known who is a Taurus who has that birthday, end of April to the bulk of May, actually. They're not homebodies. They just don't have their plans in order yet. If somebody comes along into their life and says, hey, let's go to a nightclub, let's go to a party, they are first in line. It's just, they might play the role of a homebody for a while. Someone who just wants to stay at home. They just want to be in their books. They just want to sit at home watching Netflix. No, they want to be out on the town. They want to be going to the bar every night if they can. It just, they need the right person to push them out the door. They just want to cuddle. As I said at first, the thing with people who have the sign of Taurus is that at first they're going to try and charm you with their intellect. They are going to try and present themselves as very well educated, sophisticated, knowledgeable, excellent conversationalist type of people. But that's all at first, because the good things about Taurus might not stay there forever. And if you want to challenge me on any of this, put it in the comments section below. If you think that this is all far out, put it in the comments section down below. I want to read your messages. I want to read your comments. I want to read your disagreements. And you can always like and subscribe to follow along with the rest of these videos. Going to be doing one for every single star sign. But that's something that I noticed about Taurus. There's always this initial presentation of very well-mannered and sophisticated behavior, and then it can turn to a little bit more tyrannical, a little bit more controlling, almost never pure evil, but close. Okay, about Taurus. What kind of person is a Taurus? Taurians are the human equivalent of moss. Oh my gosh, it really says that. I didn't misread that. Taurians are the human equivalent of moss, a handmade wooden chair. They're normally satisfied with things the way they are. They embody stability, sitting in a patch of grass and admiring the breeze. When everything else seems to be falling apart, Taurians are an oasis of calm, rock of dependability. Has this person ever talked to anybody who has the star sign Taurus? No, 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 no. You had me going for a second about this whole thing about being like someone who enjoys the breeze, who likes to sit there and watch the mountains. Yeah, every single person who has the star sign of Taurus that I've ever met is the kind of person that likes to sit, feel the breeze, watch the mountains. I'm going to take a photo. Looks beautiful. I'm going to put it on Instagram. My day is done. Is that calm? No, that means that they have an appreciation for nature. They have an appreciation for life and existence. But is that calm? No. Unless it's the calm before the storm or something. And maybe that could be a way to describe Taurus. I mean, purely through my observations. They are the calm before the storm. When you first meet them, they're going to be like, wow, look at those beautiful mountains. Let me tell you 35 reasons why I love the mountains. And then, once you get to know them a little bit more, there's just going to be this overwhelming tidal wave of emotions that are just going to come crashing down on you, and all those beautiful mountains are going to be underwater. Back to this article here, a co-star. Taurians are oriented around the physical world. Sure, they tend to be grounded and logical. Actually, I think they're quite emotional if they're going to be, the calm before the storm. That means that emotions are just going to be going up and down. So they're grounded and logical at first. Always, that's just what we're going to be saying. Like star sign Taurus, good stuff at first. They love routine. They're committed to their own comfort. Okay, now we've got something. This is something here that I will not dispute. They are committed to their own comfort. And you might be thinking, well, hey, everybody is committed to their own comfort. Nah, that's not true. Like some people also tell you this. Everybody is self-serving. Everybody only cares about themselves. No, that's not true. The thing that actually allows you to care about other people is your level of agreeableness. If you use the Big Five model, like the ocean personality traits, openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism, because agreeableness is a pair bonding trait. It's all about empathizing, and agreeable people are connected to peacemaking characteristics. They want to end the conflicts. They want to smooth the waters. They want the things to feel all light and airy. So that is your ability to care about other people, and that is something that can be kind of up and down across all the star signs, those big five personality traits. But the thing with Taurus is that you often will get those agreeable tendencies at first, like the pleasant, empathetic, very responsive demeanor in a positive way. That's all going to happen at first, and then the emotions start pouring in. But they tend to be grounded and logical at first. They love routine, they're committed to their own comfort. You see, you often will find with the Taurus that the reason why they're telling you all of these wonderful things. I love the mountains. I love sitting in the breeze. Oh, I just want to give you a hug. Let's sit in the breeze together. Because it's for their own comfort. And I don't say that in a bad way. I'm just trying to be honest about this. They like to be in control. Okay, I thought the person who wrote this article was absolutely bonkers at first. Now we're getting somewhere. They like to be in control. They're patient and steady. Controlling, patient and steady. Those things don't always go together in human behavior, and their materialism is an extension of their pursuit of stability. That often does not go together either. I'm gonna wait and see here. Once they get into a groove, it's difficult for them to get out. I don't know about that. Object in motion stays at motion. Object in rest stays at rest. I can kind of see where you're coming from with this here, but I mean, because as I said, people who have the star sign of Taurus are not going to be homebodies forever. They'll be the kind of person that's going to sit around at home, never go to the club, never go to the nightclub, until someone that they want to impress says, "Hey, you want to go to a nightclub?" I'm sure they're saying it just like that, by the way. "Hey, you want to go to a nightclub?" They're like, "Yeah." Then it's just going to be like out the door. It's just like, oh, let's see, let's just grab my flowery tie and my dot dot kind of shirt thing, and they're out the door. Oh, they will break routine, but object of rest stays at rest, object of motion stays in motion. Well, then that's not the homebody lifestyle, then. And then this is almost a contradiction to that earlier stuff that is mentioned about the star sign of Taurus. But what are the bad traits of Taurians? Taurians' bad traits have to do with their materialistic proclivities. Their materialistic proclivities. Yeah, I don't know about that. That's kind of a weird way of saying it. They don't respond well to criticism. Not even when they, not even that they react negatively to it, but it's almost like they are made of cement, and any feedback just bounces off them and doesn't budge. Now, this is something that isn't only relevant to Taurus. I think that this can just be with everybody. As I said, any star sign, that thing that they just talked about there, because that's more about how there is this thing called a self delusion. For example, if people are faced with contradictory evidence, they can incorporate it into their own self delusion. Like, say, for example, you say, hey, that tie looks really weird and disgusting, and I can just work that into my own self delusion. I did it on purpose. I wanted to be bold, loud, and outwardly expressing myself, which may not be the truth or something. Or, say, for example, especially if someone starts to get caught in a lie, but then they keep telling themselves a story, and eventually they start to believe it themselves. A better example that actually deals with the type of self delusion that I was talking about is, say, this bandana cap here or something. Someone be like, hey, that's neon green, that's lime green, electric lime, that's a lousy color. And then I would say, it was actually white. It just turned that way after it fell into a patch of dandelions. And maybe the first time I was being silly, but the second time I forgot that I made up the story and I'm processing it as a real memory. It's neon green. That's not true or anything. Very well. But if I process that fake story as a real memory, it's incorporated into a variant of a self delusion. And I think that can happen with all types of personality traits, not only with Taurus, though. And I don't really find that behavior to be super present with the Taurus sign. By the way, I think I heard this on Drew Beeson's channel. He hosts a show called The Zodcast. I think it was his when he shared an article that said that the majority of serial killers are Taurus, a study claims. And I found an article that's talking about that by Paula Froelich, Froelich, Froelich. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly in one of those three ways that I said it. Let's just read this from the New York Post. Is your friend a Taurus? Does he or she obsess over murder and watch CSI too much? There's a good reason to be wary now. Hey, Taurus, I talk about true crime all the time. I host a true crime channel called Black Box Online Radio, and that's available here on YouTube. Invitation to Taurians and everybody else to listen to that. Just because people are into true crime, it doesn't mean they're murderers themselves. Let's be clear out of the get go. There's a good reason to be wary now. The sleuths over at Britain's The Mirror did a serial killer, astrological, sign roundup, finding that the majority of bloodthirsty evildoers are Taurus. The sign of Taurus is devoted, patient, and hardworking. I do agree with that, actually. Devoted, patient, hardworking, and that kind of ties into what Co-Star was saying about getting pulled into routines. It's just, yeah, they can get pulled into routines, but then someone can push them out of that. So the objects in motion versus at rest, I think that those are not completely in line. There are a couple contradictions in that last post. That's more or less my conclusion. Among the psychos born between April 20th and May 20th are, it does say that psychos, wow, H. Holmes, Michael Ryan, the man behind the Hungerford Massacre. I've never heard of Michael Ryan before. John Michael Ryan, I know. David Copeland, the London nail bomber. Canadian child killer Karla Homolka. Oh my gosh, if you ever learn about Karla Homolka, she was one half of the Ken and Barbie killers, and the other half was Paul Bernardo, who was also known as the Scarborough Rapist. But Karla Homolka, who was his partner in crime, she may actually have been more sociopathic and evil and twisted and tormented than tormenting rather than Paul Bernardo. Albert Fish, the werewolf of Wisteria. Albert Fish was a serial killer who was a cannibalistic one, and almost all cannibalistic serial killers that eat the victims' bodies, they're doing that as a form of domination. And he would sometimes cut the victims up and then cook them like a pot roast. And he would also do really weird sex acts like self-flagellation or putting like nails into his buttocks and such. Creepy guy. Levi Belfield, the British child killer rapist. Orville Lynn Majors. Robert Black, the Scottish serial killer and pedophile. Brit Steve Wright, and Martha Beck. So there are a lot of names that I didn't catch on there, but I think that that's the end of the article. Wow, they don't really have anything else about why they think that the majority of serial killers are under the sign of Taurus. Well, in regards to the Zodiac Killer mystery, as I said, I heard about this on the Zodcast. Two of the most famous Zodiac Killer suspects out there are Donald Lee Cheney and Harold K. Snook, and they both were under the sign of Taurus. Don Cheney was born on April 25th, I believe, and then Hal Snook was born on April 21st. But it's really hard to say that based on just the lack of detail here in this article. But that is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about how there could be this thing about if you have been born in this 30-day stretch, is your personality going to be affected in some way? And there's another article from bodyandsoul.com.australia that has something to say about Taurians, and it also says you might want to be extra cautious around them. Taurians are devoted, patient, and hardworking. I hope this isn't the same article. But some of the murderers who share the sign of Taurus include H. Holmes, the London nail bomber. People got to stop plagiarizing and such. That is so lame. They're just kind of cutting and pasting, copying and pasting. Write your own damn stuff, as I say that while I'm reading somebody else's article. Now, over to a different one to talk more about the signs of Taurus. This is from Astrolab, and they have some things to share here. Taurians are practical and well grounded. Taurus is the sign that harvest the fruits of labor. They feel the need to always be surrounded by love and beauty. I was mentioning the big five personality traits earlier. That I think would be connected to neuroticism, because if you are high in trait neuroticism, you're going to want to be surrounded by things that make you feel safe and secure. You're attracted to security, and yeah, I think a fair amount of the Taurians that I have known who've had birthdays in that time span are definitely attracted to security in that way. But I think that the first one from CoStar was saying that you can push the Taurus out of that out of that glass house, uh, out of these pillars of security. You can push them out into the wild, and they'll do it for the right person, but only for the right person. They feel the need to always be loved and surrounded by beauty and turn to the material world and physical pleasures. Cool. People born with their sun in Taurus are sensual and consider touch and taste the most important of all senses. Wow, I've never heard that before, and I don't even think I've observed anything about those types of behaviors. When I talk about astrology, particularly here on this channel, I'm more about looking at personality traits, but this could be something good to look at for the future about how are these people attracted to different things, senses and such, like attracted to the sense of taste, the sense of smell, and so on. Stable, reliable, and conservative. What? Conservative? I don't think Taurians are conservative. You can't be the type of person who is just going to be in routine and tradition and then get pushed out the door into something new if you're going to be conservative. As I said, at first they might appear to be conservative. This is what a conservative does, by the way. I don't know what this is. No, this is meant to represent gentle, calm nature, and then out the door it goes. Maybe Taurians are conservative at first, and then they do a little bit of rule breaking, a little bit of rule bending, especially rule bending, things that they can work into that self delusion. Well, yeah, I did that, but I had every reason to do that. I was right to do that. Self justifying, all of that. And that's not always a bad thing. Being clear about that again, just trying to be honest here. There could be good reasons why people are doing that, but yes, the sign of Taurus is conservative at first, and then things begin to change. They are stable and conservative. This is one of the most reliable signs of the zodiac, ready to endure and stick to their choices until they reach the point of personal satisfaction. Sounds like you'd want them to be your executive vice president, not chairman of the board. Executive vice president is fine. Taurus is an earth sign, just like Virgo and Capricorn, and has the ability to see things from a grounded and practical and realistic perspective. They find it easy to make money. I think that's somewhat fair. All the people that I've been close to under the sign of Taurus have been very good at holding down stable employment. They find it easy to make money and stay on the same projects for years, also as well. The people I've known who have been able to hold down stable employment, they're with the same jobs for years. Not like me, I'm a job hopper and such, which is its own set of problematic issues. But what we often see with Taurus is stubbornness. And that can be interpreted as commitment and their ability to complete tasks based on whatever they think is uncanny. Oh, their ability to complete tasks based on whatever it takes is uncanny. Yeah, maybe, but the thing that I've more or less observed here as a type of commonality among all of these things associated with Taurus is that they'll go through long periods of when they're exhibiting a certain set of behaviors. Then someone will come into their life and they will alter the course of those behaviors. Yeah, they're going to be the kind of person who's going to be working the stable job. They're going to stay there for 2 years. Then all of a sudden, I want to throw my life away because I've met someone who's really cool. And then they're going to go down that pathway for an extended period of time. Not for like a week or something like that. I mean, There are no rules. You can do that if you're under the sign of Taurus, but probably not staying that way for very long. This makes them excellent employees, great long term friends and partners, always being there for the people they love. At first, then things begin to change. All of these wonderful principles that people are talking about in these articles here, does it really stay that way? Earthly note makes them overprotective, conservative, or materialistic. As I already said, I disagree with the conservative thing. The ruler of Taurus is Venus, the planet of love and attraction, beauty, satisfaction, creativity, and gratitude. Yeah, appreciation for beauty, got it. This tender nature will make Taurus an excellent cook, gardener, lover, and artist. Now you're telling me that people who are born in the spring have this star sign that's going to make them excellent gardeners? And you don't think there's anything about how the changes in the seasons as the earth goes around the sun affects your mood, your temperament, and your personality? That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And that's how they're almost like it's just the alarm bells are going off. There is some truth to this stuff. They are loyal and they don't like sudden changes. Oh, yeah, they like sudden changes for the right people. Criticism and the chase of guilt is present, and they're often prone to being somewhat dependable on other people and emotions. They seem to be unable to let go of certain emotions. Yeah, that's fair. Still, no matter their potential emotional challenge, these individuals have the ability to bring a practical voice of reason into many chaotic and unhealthy situations. I think that one could go either way, and I'm not going to lie to you. I have some very mixed feelings about that because, as you see, as you can see, I definitely have some disagreements with these posts here that are talking about how Taurus people who are Taurus are just grounded and they're just like following the rules, principled, and then they're just never gonna falter from that. They're just the homebodies who stay at home all the time. Uh-uh. Every single person that I have ever met who's under the sign of Taurus has had their deviations, and then they stay on the deviated path for a while. So the best way to look at it, as they said, is object in motion stays at motion, object at rest stays at rest. That's what I think it's more about. Not so much about being principled or conservative. I think it's more about getting attracted to that type of stability and security that can even come from going outside into the world, as long as it's involved in the routine and the anticipation. We could talk for 3 hours about that anticipation and decision making. There's different type of kind of fantasy filled, self deluded way of thinking out there, and it relates to fantasy and reality. Some people have this fantasy that they live in, that their knowledge pool and their expectations is all there is. And when something happens that they did not anticipate, they get really mad. Like, say, for example, I got a bottle of water here, and this bottle of water is from Pure Aqua, and then they will tell you something like, the only water for sale in the supermarket is Pure Aqua. You're like, no, they're all kinds of waters for sale at the supermarket. Aquafina, Dasani, and Great Value from Walmart. They're like, no, it doesn't exist. There's only Pure Aqua water at the supermarket. It's a boring, mundane example. But have you ever known somebody who's like that? When you present them with contradictory information, instead of saying no, instead of saying that, all right, I see your point, or I'll look into that more, they're going to tell you, no, that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist because I'm not the one who discovered it. It doesn't exist because I have this fantasy that I'm the only one who can acquire knowledge. Or let's talk about they, because I don't mean me. They have this fantasy that they all are the only ones who can acquire knowledge. Their expectations, their anticipations, and their knowledge pool is the only thing that exists in their mind. So then, when something happens that is outside of that anticipation, decision making, and knowledge pool, they deny its existence. And then, if they finally do accept its existence, they can incorporate it into the self delusion and be like, oh, yeah, 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 I found this book that is a directory of supermarkets, and it says they sell more than one kind of water at the supermarket. Yeah, I just told you that last week. I don't remember anything about that. They're the only ones who can acquire knowledge and have that type of anticipation and decision making skill. They're the only ones who can put things into the collective knowledge pool. If they're not familiar with it, it doesn't exist. And that doesn't mean to say that people who are Taurus are like that. This is just how fantasy filled individuals continue their fantasies on into adulthood, and they're not always pleasant. I think it's a little bit similar to what they were talking about in these Taurus articles, but it's not always the same thing. But it's always good to be aware of the different types of human behavior. Let's go over to a different article from allure.com that says Taurus. The sign of Taurus is April 20th to May 20th. Taurus is a sign that represents the earth, and its symbol is the bull. Like their celestial animal, Taurians enjoy relaxing and serene, bucolic environments. Bucolic. Well, I'm not one of those people who can't acquire knowledge or deny something I don't know. I have no idea what that means. They enjoy bucolic environments. I'm going to get on dictionary.com after this. They like being surrounded by soft sounds, soothing aromas, and succulent flavors. If anything, that's consistent with what the other post from Astrolab said about how they're attracted to taste. And Taurus is ruled by Venus, the enchanting planet that governs love, beauty, and money. Taurians have an influence that makes this earth sign the most sensual of the zodiac. These cosmic oxen, the star sign of Taurus, are enchanted by any physical manifestation of comfort and luxury. Pleasure is a necessity for Epicurean Taurians, and they feel most content when they are pampered. Taurus governs the neck, so caress the neck, especially, and the bulls will find it irresistible. I don't think that that's going to be the case. Here's why. I've talked a lot about neuroticism. I've talked a lot about personality. And with people who have the sign of Taurus, if they actually are going to be attracted to all of these things that are making themselves feel safe, making themselves feel at peace, like inwardly, but particularly safe in the principles of security, not so much about peace, I take that back, then some people respond negatively to that. They express negative emotions. They express anger, sadness, and as I said, from time to time, tyrannical behavior. This often relates to the upbringing of an individual, where if some people are developing a close relationship with a friend, they can often put out more tyrannical types of behavior. They can often become more controlling. They can develop a nastier tone of voice when they're expressing their ideas. They can use certain basic manipulative tactics, but still want to hold on to the friendship. Now, why would somebody do that? Well, based on everything they've said here, it's because they develop an ineffective way of living. They feel safe around somebody, and then they're mean to them. Because, I mean, the human brain is telling them that if you do this, you're going to get away with it. You can be mean to this person, and there won't be any backlash. You can exhibit these types of angry, tyrannical, rude, nasty characteristics, and the other person is going to be somewhat of a pushover. And I think that that's why you have this first type of introductory phase when the Taurus is trying to charm you with their intellect and show off how many factoids they can ramble off. Where they're going to tell you all these stories about, what was it, what I was when I was growing up. I did this wonderful thing and this thing that just I'm sure you would love to do as well, which probably has a little bit of people reading in it. But then that is going to change after a while because if someone is attracted to security, not all people have that type of peacemaking characteristic in security because that's not neuroticism, that's agreeableness. That's why I said I take that back. Remember what I said before. Agreeableness is connected to empathizing and peacemaking. the people who want to smooth the waters and have light and airy situations. Because through agreeableness, you can recognize how other people feel. And you don't want other people to feel bad because, well, that's not very agreeable now, is it? Because you won't feel good. You want everyone to feel pleasant and that type of peaceful, inner, serene joy. And the Taurus is going to be like that at first. But then, once they get more into the neurotic side, they're going to feel safe around someone. And then exhibiting these types of controlling, nasty, tyrannical characteristics. Then, now that they have you as a pillar of security in their life, then they're going to do something a little bit nasty, do something a little bit unfair, and it's just going to escalate. The Taurus is a great worker. At first, the Taurus is a rock, piece of stability in your life. At first, the Taurus is the best friend that you will ever have. At first, but that all starts to change once they become safe and secure around you. Oh, well, I guess I don't really have to pay attention to his feelings anymore. I've already accepted him. I don't have to pay attention to what she has to say. I've already accepted her as a pillar of security in my life. So there's less of a need to talk about, hey, what a wonderful breeze. Back to these motions again. Hey, look at the mountains. Mm, I don't need to ask you anything. I don't need to listen to anything that you have to say, really, about ask you what a wonderful breeze, though. Do you like the breeze? Do you like the mountains? They're not going to ask. Let's talk about me. It's my focus now. I'm the center point of everything. These are just my observations, though, about both the pros and cons of some matching certain types of personalities and behaviors to the astrological signs, to the star signs. What do you have to say about Taurus? And if you've known someone in your life who is under the sign of Taurus, or maybe you're a Taurus, please share everything in the comment section below. Challenge me, disagree with me if you think that it's all incorrect, or if you just have some personal experiences that you want to put forward, do that as well. Everybody say bye to the fox here. And feel free to check out the YouTube channel Black Box Online Radio to talk all about the Zodiac killers, serial killers, and other true crime stories. All right, everybody, have a good evening.